Hello, modeling community. The past week we've lost a member of our community, Donn Yost. I recorded this video at least 6 times, and I've lost count after that, stopping due to unforeseen reasons. So this time I've written down what I want to say here on my phone, so you'll see me look at the camera and look at my phone throughout the speech. You may have known or seen Donn through many of the Facebook groups, his own Facebook page, Scale Model Techniques, his YouTube channel of the same name, his Patreon channel with over 250 30-plus minute videos, and his 3 educational DVDs to help those who needed a base understanding of how to obtain a great paint finish for their model and understand the basics of detailing a model from start to finish. The links to all of this information can be found in the description below this video. Donn's builds are something to admire. The man took his time answering questions for those who needed his help. He was always about making you a better modeler than him. He never wanted you to build like him. He wanted you to build better than him. Donn would tell it like it is. Whether you liked him or not, he was a man of his word. Donn was not only a great friend of mine, but he was a mentor. The recent builds you see on my channel, the Foos Cadillac, the 72 Nova Pro Stocker, the 67 Camaro, and the multiple painted bodies, I owe that to Donn Yost. Donn taught me how to be a better modeler, obtaining show quality work, and not to be scared of trying something new. With Donn's 40-plus years of experience in this hobby, both in automotive and railroad, he worked through a lot of the trial and errors in paints and products to show the results of what was worth buying and what wasn't. Donn was a self-taught guitarist, sang in church, had a band, was an avid baseball fan, and played softball as much as he could. He enjoyed fishing and had a love for his family, including all of his dogs and foster dogs. If you were out in public with the old man, he would always make sure you were safe and nobody would mess with you. I spoke to the old man for hours at a time about life, this amazing hobby, family, baseball, fishing, football, my love for hockey, and anything else that came up during the conversation. Donn, you will be sorely missed in this community by your family and your friends near and far. If anyone wishes to give your condolences, his Facebook profile page and obituary are in the description below. The obituary gives you the ability to send a message to his family. In his obituary, you will find a children's hospital and an animal sanctuary that you can give a memorial contribution to in his name if you wish. The remaining part of this video will continue with a slideshow of Donn's builds and commentary from Donn himself about building models.
Hey, welcome back to the Nut House. For those of you that are just joining us, my name is Donn Yost. I am the proprietor and chief cook and bottle washer of Lone Wolf Custom Painting. We're a company that does custom painting for others that can't, with painted bodies. We have a set of DVDs, airbrush and tips and tricks, which are available through oldmansmodels.com. And this is the YouTube channel where I promise to help you out as much as I possibly can. And if I don't know the answer, I can find it, and then we all work together. If you want to build a quality model car, you need a firm foundation. You're going to hear me say that so many times you're going to throw a brick at me the next time you see me in public. But it is the truth. It is something that you need to do. Videos, books, DVDs, these should be in your arsenal. This way you've got, it's reference material. For lack of a better term, it's reference material. It's always something that you can go back and look at. DVDs, books. And I'm not just talking about modeling books. Books on drag racing. It opens up a whole new world. Now, I'm not saying that aesthetically correct one-to-one cars, that's the only way to fly with it. It's not. but it gives you good ideas. My DVDs, good foundation, all the way across the board. Bob Downey's book, excellent. Virgil Suarez, when it comes to weathering, Cranky's right there. Guys like Ken Hamilton, Terry Jesse, the books and the education's out there. And if you want to be a good modeler, my DVDs, compact books, they should be in your repertoire. They should be part of your toolbox. I think the biggest mistake we make as modelers, as soon as we get back into this, we immediately want to be building like guys that have been building for 25 or 30 years. It's not going to happen. Very rarely, it might, but overall, it's not going to happen. This is where the patience comes in. This is where the foundation comes in, because you build a good foundation. You build your first floor, your second floor. Will it come? Hell yeah, it'll come. It upsets me to no end when a guy will say to me, well, I'm never going to be as good as you. Well, how the hell do you know? You're beating yourself out of the gate. Just give it time and patience. You start at point A and you work your way to Z. It might take you a couple years. I was taught by an old Italian house painter when I was a little kid, the 3-color system. You use 3 corresponding colors, run it through your build the whole way through, and it provides an elegant look to your model car. I got a buddy of mine from California, Joey Cardosa. He owns JDS Racing. He had a beautiful Corvette, and it was on a slot car body, and the guy that built the body for him did a beautiful job on it. It was gorgeous. But he made one mistake on it. The car was red and white, paneled with black outlines. Decals were all white, red, and black, which fit perfectly. And he, for whatever reason, stuck a yellow Wyand decal on the fender. And when Joey sent me the picture, what do you think, old man? I said, beautiful work, but the Wyand decal got to go. And he texted me back with a question mark, and I said, Joey, I said, the car is beautiful. I said, the first thing that, I said, sit the car up on a shelf. I said, step back from it, close your eyes and open your eyes back up and look at the car, and tell me what the very first thing that you see. He texted me back, he said, the Wyand decal. Now, you've got that beautiful car, and you've run those colors all the way through the scheme, and yet that decal sits there and goes, and it takes away from the build. One thing that's very, very important, especially when it comes to your painting, is lighting. You need to paint under the conditions, as in lighting conditions, that your cars are going to be shown under, which for the most part and almost always is fluorescent lighting. There's an age-old battle that goes enamel, paint, lacquer, paint, enamel, lacquer, enamel, lacquer. Goes back and forth, hence the cartoon drawn by the Duke of Dirt, Ken Hamilton. The individual on the left, that would be Robert Downey, a well-known author, and he has a book on airbrushing. And then you've got yours truly. Hamilton did a pretty good job of capturing my likeness, but it goes back and forth. Does this battle exist? Only in just to a certain point. I've actually been accused of using, how was it put in the one magazine article, an antiquated system and product, meaning enamels. It's not true. If it was antiquated, that would mean that I own stock in it, hence the rack. However, that being said, what I do is I take enamel, I cut it with cheap lacquer thinner, and I gain several different qualities the biggest complaint about enamels is they don't dry. Well, if you cut it with lacquer thinner, you gain the brilliance, the win-win coming out of the gun, for lack of a better expression, because it's instant shine. And also, when you cut it with the cheap lacquer thinner, meaning hardware store variety, then you pick up several of the lacquer qualities. Your finish dries fast, it dries hard, it dries tight, and you don't lose any detail. And plus the enamel, you have the shine. Enamel as a paint is a little bit more forgiving, say in a tiny little scratch mark, where lacquer will still show it when it dries. Enamel will fill it in and cover it up. And as I said before, I'm not the world's greatest modeler. However, I have been successful. I do build a clean and well-built model, and this is what everybody strives to do. There's no sense in spending the kind of money that we're spending on this hobby unless you're seeking to improve. I refer to it all the time, and you'll hear me say it 1,000,001 times as time goes on, pushing the envelope. Every single build that you produce should be better than the last. And there's no shame in looking back, 5 years ago as to what you're building as compared to what you're doing now. I've had it said to me literally hundreds upon hundreds of times, "Oh man, when I bought that Airbrush DVD, I never thought playing with enamels would be so easy, and my paint finishes improved 90%, 100%. And this is what I want to hear, because this means that I'm helping. Because anytime that you help somebody else out in this hobby, you're helping the hobby out itself. And the more guys that we bring into this hobby and make it easy for them, and it makes them happy and they're content with building and everything, that means that they're spending more money within the hobby. They're buying more kits. You buy Revell, you buy AMT, you buy Mobius, and you Tamiya kits. I mean, the list is long and varied. But you go and you buy these kits, and the model companies make money. Well, the model companies make money, and then they decide, well, you know what? We're going to release 4 or 5 new kits. And winner, winner, every one of us. And this is what we strive to do. Plastic, and believe it or not, wood, move through the air, produce a static charge. Once that static charge is produced, anything that's floating in the air, and this is where I refer to as Murphy's Law, because whatever can happen will happen at the most inopportune moment. 87% of your show points are involved with your paintwork. And the single most important thing to go along with that is a clean paint environment. Now, I have a painted ceiling. I have painted walls. I am well lit. Notice, it's all fluorescent lighting. This is what the car is going to be shown under. So that way I know that how my metallic's going to look, what the smoothness of my finish, etc. is I'm airbrushing. If you're painting in your basement, my suggestion, unless you have a floor that's painted, wet it down. They do it in the auto bodies. They go in, they wet the floor down, it keeps the dust down. Your ceiling's covered. You want to control this environment as much as you possibly can. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, unless you're painting in a completely static, clean area, as in a laboratory, you're going to get a little bit of dust, a little bit of dirt here everywhere. But this way, at least you're keeping Murphy out of the mess. I can't stress this enough. I cannot stress this enough. Believe me, there's been guys that have bought the Airbrush DVD and they said, "Oh man, everything's going good, and then when I go and paint, oh my God. Okay, I'm getting dirt in my paint." Well, do me a favor. Well, and I did this with a guy from Canada. He called. I said, okay, walk over to the cellar steps. Where are you painting? Cellar. Okay, we'll walk over to the cellar steps. And, okay, turn on the light, walk down the steps. He does it. He goes into his shop. I said, okay, turn on the light. He turns on the light. And I said, go over where your airbrush. And he does it. And I said, okay, look up. And all I heard was, oh, damn. If you have open rafters, no matter what you do, somebody walks across the floor up ahead, dog runs, chase the cat, whatever, you're going to get dirt raining down. So, piece of Marlite, piece of particle board, whatever you can, put it up over top. However, also make sure you put that fluorescent light up over the top. And that way you're well lit. It's under the conditions that your car is going to be shown under. It also allows you to visually be able to inspect your model as you paint it. Every single piece. A well-known modeler, excellent modeler, crazy as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, Mr. Gary, I'm talking about you. William Gary. This guy makes it so that you can roll his windows up and down. Bill always said that every single piece of a kit is a kit within itself, especially when it comes to detail. Now, if you build box stock, well, you know, there's a lot of avenues you can go with that. You can weather your motor, you can weather the frame, etc., etc. You can detail paint the living hell out of it. I mean, there was, this was probably, what, 10, 12 years ago? A guy I know took and built an AMT 50 Chevy pickup, and it was box stock, and he won best of show with it. That's how well he painted it. The sky's the limit. All depends on how you want to do it. Like I said, though, devil would be in the details. If you want to step up your game, you're going to have to make sure that every single mold line, and once again, here's that word, you're going to hate me for it before it's all said and done, patience. Take your time. There's no rush. You're spending an awful lot of money on these kits. When you're sanding, especially when you're doing your body, always make sure that you leave that particular grit, I should say, sitting with it. Say, you know, you start off, you work your way through 220, 320, you're up to 400. Well, it's easy enough to forget. All right, the wife called, said, listen, meet me outside, I'm picking you up, we're going out to dinner. You don't put the 400 down next to the build. And then you come back and you think, hey, you know what, I think I left off on 600. Well, you're going to have scratch marks. Sounds stupid, but once again, it's CYA. You're covering your ass. And that brings me to a point that is worth mentioning. The cleanliness is next to godliness. It's an important thing. I see guys' workbenches that, and I'm not saying, believe me, it's not a hack. I know what it's like. You get 15 builds on a workbench, you can't move. I mean, you're working. There was a lot of times where I'm working in an area as big as this workbench is. I'm working in an area this big, constantly. I build like that. It's nuts. Another thing too, I see guys with potato chips, pretzels, pop. My suggestion, no. If I have a bottle of iced tea, a glass of iced tea, it's sitting clear down the other end, and it's either that or it's on one of the other benches. I get up, I take a drink, I take it away, because if it spills, you know, you're working on your body. You're prepping it, you're eating potato chips, you've got greasy fingers, that's going on the surface. And as I've indicated more than a few times, you want to keep your area as clean as possible. You get chips, you get pretzels, you know, chocolate, whatever, it's going on that model sooner or later. Same way with a glass of Pepsi, a glass of Coke, it doesn't do too good for your finish. It just makes it kind of sticky, and not only that, Coke would probably eat the paint. Does it still do that, Jake? It did when I was a kid. It would take rust off a chrome bumper. Yeah, bad, very bad. There's nothing wrong with taking 5 or 6 kits and painting all the semi-gloss black with them. When it's cut with the lacquer thinner, it dries within minutes. Literally within minutes. So what do? You flip them over on another fresh piece of tape, and you put them down, and you take them into the booth. Zip, 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 zip. Now, you have painted 6 model cars worth of semi-gloss black. Then you've got the bags for the aluminum. Pull out all those parts, do the same. And that's even better because that's dry within, what'd I say, Jake, 30 seconds? About 30 seconds. Done. Handle it gingerly, you're home free. You want to paint between 68 to 72 degrees with low humidity. Now, there are some adjustments that have to be made along the lines of that because of where you live. Up north, well, you're going to have, when those temperatures are going to be available. Down south, when that humidity is going to be low. The times that when it's worse, that's the times you should be prepping. Get 5, 6, 7 kits prepped. The times that when it's going to be the best for painting, pull them out, paint them up, and put them away. Now, anybody that knows anything about me knows that I love the fat fender cars. And out of them all, between this and the 44, it's my favorite. Especially on that fat fender thing, because she's got more curves than Raquel Welch, and that's saying something. So, hope y'all enjoyed yourselves, and I will see you next week. Take care. It's the old man. I'm out.